Hey, 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 all my crafty friends. I am coming to you with a Halloween card. I am loving this one. It is from the Brass and Bliss's new release for September. I think this one is so cute. And guess what? I'm making a 5x7 card. So what you're seeing right there, unfortunately, I've been having a lot of issues with storage on my phone. I've got to fix it and get it together, or just stop taking so many darn pictures. But you've seen the background. I did do just a light purple cardstock and then used the inks in like a dark purple, a dark blue, I think it was sapphire color cube, and then the darkest gray, which is like heath or hearth, I think is what it is. I will link all of those in the description, of course, for you. And then we are using the Halloween candy bucket is what it is called. This is so good. What is it? I'm sorry. It's the trick or treat bucket die. This one has so many good things. First of all, it has the pumpkin, which obviously you could die cut in the orange like we're doing here, or purples or teals, or whatever your Halloween bucket wants. The design team actually had a few good ideas for this one, so definitely check them out on the Brass and Bliss site. I decided to do, so this can definitely fit in an A2 card size. I wanted to go a bit bigger than that, and also have just been loving 5x7 cards. I wanted a little bit, you to see more of my background, pretty much is what I wanted. So you'll see that coming up here. If you are into putting together all of the dies and all of the die sets, this is definitely the set for you. You have to die cut all of the little pieces of candy, including the basket. But here you can see that it comes together very well. I did do some shading on this. As you can see, I just used a little bit of brown ink on the edges. I think that doing a little bit of shading to your die cuts definitely just elevates all of your dies so much and gives those shadows just, it definitely helps so much. So look into that. You definitely don't have to. You do not have to, but I do think that it helps a little bit. You've seen that I cut the little handle to this trick-or-treat basket twice. I just wanted it to be a little bit more substantial. That is all. I just wanted it to be just a little bit more substantial. So whenever you want to do that, or whenever you want to add a little bit more dimension, cut it twice, and that is perfect. Tuck this in the back. Again, that also brings more dimension. And as you can see, that top die to the like boo bucket, whatever you want to call it, it creates a slit in it so you can slide all of these little goodies into there. These little ghosties were so adorable. I did cut them from like an off-white so that it wasn't like stark white against my backdrop here, and I think it was perfect. Like I said, this die set comes with so many good things, guys. It is definitely one to grab up in this release. You can do so many things. Like I said, the design team, I was in awe by all of the things that they came up with. In this card, I used the stencil bats in the background with some stencil paste from Tim Holtz. Loved the way that this came out. I definitely will. I've been obsessed with the bats this season. All right, so here, this is an easy way also to get more pieces without die cutting so many times. I die cut these candy sticks from orange and then from black, and honestly just swapped them a lot of the time. So you're going to see I just swapped the orange and the black several different times to get more pieces and have to do less cuts pretty much. And it also keeping the color scheme to just a few colors definitely helps your cards feel more put together also. All right, so there's that gorgeous background. And honestly, Unfortunately, like I said, I lost the footage to that, but it was like so simple. I started out on light purple cardstock so that I wouldn't have to put as much color down with my ink. And then I just went in with darker purple, went over dark blue, went over, and then that black gray. All right, so I'm gluing that all down. As you've seen, I almost glued the whole thing down, and I was like, oh wait, we need to slide in our goodies here. So I wiped the glue from the top. So I just glued the very bottom of this pumpkin basket. I just think this is so cool. And then I just slid these in here. I tried not to think so much about it. We have lollipops. We have ghosty. I imagine them as cake pops. I imagine this as a big chocolate bar. As you can see right there, I'm just like putting very little shadowing onto each edge of them, guys. Just very little, just to make them pop against that that background. And honestly, I wasn't even thinking about where like my light source was coming from. We didn't do any of that. We just put it down, guys. We just put it down. We're having fun here. Putting in my candy sticks. I did gummy worms and of course candy corn to fill up my bucket. Candy corn around here is a commodity. I'm telling you, we've already went through a whole bag of candy corn and I've been hiding it. So it's not even readily available to my kids, but one kid found it and has been already going through it, and it's only September 10th as I'm doing this voiceover. So candy corn here to put at the bottom, and then in between where I just needed a few more things to fill in. And also my next tip, like the gummy worms, you'll see that I only put the stripes at the top part of the gummy worm. You're obviously not going to see the bottom of that gummy worm, so don't worry about doing all the fiddly little pieces on the bottom of the candies. Just do that top little portion and then you tuck the rest in. So the candy corn were super simple to put together. They just layer right together, as you can see. Again, I did that same white as I did the ghost, so it wasn't like super stark white. I didn't do any shading to these. I literally just put them together using some Barely Arts glue. That gives you a little bit of time to move them, but also keeps them very secure. All right, we're gonna put those down. And then move on to our ingredients here. Well, we're going to fill the rest of our bucket here. And there we go. And then you can just have so much fun putting this all together. I think it's just so fun to put, like, you know, everybody wants to put the boo baskets together, and you get to make your own on a card and pick whatever candies you want and what other color scheme you want. And it works perfectly. Look at that. So I did feel like I needed a few more bats around this, even though as I'm looking at this right here, it honestly looks like the bats are coming straight up out of that little candy boo basket. And I probably could have left it because, as you can see, I took all that candy back out, got out my distress paste, and then there's the stencil. And I had to fit it around this because I've already, you know, glued down this basket, right? So it was a little tough. And this side goes pretty well, but the other side I did make a little mistake on, but we kind of hide that in there. So yeah, I probably didn't need to do this. I was probably being just a bit extra and wanted it more down the edges, but you know, we're allowed to be extra on our cards a little bit, right? It's our art. It's our crafty time. There you go. The only thing that I always want to remind everybody when you're using this type of paste and stencils is just clean your stencils right away. Clean your stencils. This stuff actually dries so darn quickly that it will ruin your stencils in a heartbeat if you do not. Right there, I made a mistake. Right there, could you see where I put that? Yeah, right there. I was like, oh goodness. But you know, again, Halloween stencils are probably the best ones to make mistakes on. You can make them all grungy and, you know, and not have to worry about it. So other ways that I kind of covered up that boo-boo is splatter. Always splatter. If when in doubt, splatter. And that white splatter will take your eye away from, honestly, a lot of your mistakes, to tell you the honest truth. Okay, now we're moving on to our sentiment. This die set with sentiments. This is the perfect dainty handwriting. I love this. I don't know if it's handwriting or if it's, a typology, but I love this set. The only thing I always get worried about with such small dies like this is that it does get a little lost. So normally I am layering all of my dies anyways. This time I just layered it with that first light purple that I started off with. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, like you did start off with quite a purple right there. It was light, and I put a lot of ink down on that, but I love the way that this background came out. And then it just layered the black over top so that when I put it on that purple, it pops. Hopefully I'm not too far zoomed in to do this. I am still working on a new workspace, so sometimes my camera is a bit too high when I'm filming, and I'm still trying to get used to it. Sorry, guys. All right. Oh, here's where I'm going to do the splatter. So all I do is use a little bit of white acrylic paint and some water, and voila. And honestly, I really wasn't too worried about getting it everywhere. I did pull back that little handle, but honestly, I wasn't too worried about getting it everywhere. As you can see, again, Halloween cards are so forgiving, I believe, in that type of way that you don't need to worry too much about that. All right, let's clean up our mess. And look at how cute. So we're going to finally glue down a lot of these things, put all of our candies back, put our sentiment, and it's just happy Halloween. Let me know, do you guys make Halloween cards? I always mention that when I started making cards, I was like, what do I need Halloween cards for, right? But honestly, sometimes my Halloween cards are my funnest cards to make. I love making them. I think that it's gets your mind moving because you just use so many different colors. All right, I use that die because it's all one piece to make sure that it even fit, because I was like, oh shoot, do I need to like double this? But it fit perfectly, and that way I kind of could see it. And this is pretty much the last step. We're going to put this down and then put all of our candy back in. Fill that bucket back up. And there we go. That way, and as you can see, that light purple just lets it pop right off of there. Glue all of our candies back down. Normally, you will want to just use your biggest candies in the back and then fill more to the front. I think, most of us kind of get that. Not very many times do I say that I have so much fun building a card, but honestly, this one was. Now, I'm not going to lie, it does take a little bit of time, more than my probably normal cards. But honestly, if you are like, want to be a baker cake decorator type thing, or but you're not that great at it, these are the die sets for you, I think. Like, you can get that cute look, but not have to know how to decorate a cake or cookies or cake pops or anything like that. So there you go. That's, and you can customize this to whatever colors that you want to, like, and don't have to mix all of the frosting and all the good stuff. So fun. All right, so there you can see I had a little bit of space in there, so I just filled that with some candy corn and stuffed a little bit more things behind here. Look how adorable that ends up being. Using my acrylic block just to keep those down and let the glue dry a little bit, so they're not, I do have them popped up, like not with foam, but just, I don't want to say like popped up, but they are bent up a little bit. It's definitely a lot of dimension because obviously I'm layering and layering. So, there is dimension for sure, but I didn't want them like, I had a few of them that were like sticking up because I'd bent the paper or whatever. So just using that acrylic black to keep those down. All right, so that pretty much wraps up most of it. I am going to cut it down just a little bit. I think like a quarter inch, so an eighth of an inch on each side, as you're going to see here. I am going to use my guillotine trimmer just because I have to cut through that paste, so I don't want to use my wire trimmer. But just cutting off just a little bit on each side so that I can mount it on a black card base. Again, this is a 5x7 card, so this little guy does look a little bit bigger or smaller on my cards than it will on other people's cards, but I am loving the 5x7 size right now and trying to make more of them. And you can see how much space this little guy does fill up on a 4 1/4 by 5.5 size. On the Brass and Bliss site, they have, I think almost every designer used this set. Like I said, that's why it's so good. To cut a 5x7 base, you will cut it 10 by 7.5 from your 8.5 by 11 sheet. Right there, I almost cut it the wrong way. And voila, you can still have a 5x7 base out of just a regular sheet of paper. We will score that at the 5 and then use our bone folder. Look at my hands. I was crafting away this day. I was certainly... Okay, there's that light piece. See how light my cardstock was when I started? But also it allows you to build your inks without having to put so much ink down. And I knew I wanted a dark base, so I knew it was going to take a lot of ink. All right, guys, thank you all for being here so much. Definitely check out the release by Brass and Bliss, and I will see you in the next time. Oh, I do add a little bit of highlights around with my Jelly Roll pen. Of course, we always need some highlights. And then I will be showing you the final, especially since these are supposed to be candy. You want the highlights since these are supposed to be, you know, candy type pieces. All right, guys, thank you so much. And I will see you in the next one.